time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. This is episode number 25, recorded Sunday, May 15th, 2011. My name, of course, Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv, one of your hosts, and with me, as always, Mr. Asif Khan from
Absolutely.
the LBMA.
Good to be here again, Rob.
Well, I do this with nobody else. Just you, Asif.
Hey, it's who else would do it with you, though?
Exactly. I don't know anybody who would put up with me for 25 episodes. Congratulations. Quarter of a century. That's incredible. We just get better till I think 50, and then we start to gain a pound a year, right? Is that what happens?
Something like that. I'm gaining already, and I'm just hitting 40 soon. So
yeah, a young pup, 40.
Yeah. This
is, of course, the place that you come to for all the information that you need to know about the location-aware market. We talk about anything from poster boards to technology that do a little bit more than just what paper used to do. And this is a busy week. This was a busy week, and a lot of announcements. We're going to be talking about Scavenger, NTT DoCoMo. We're going to be talking about a couple of things around Live Nation and Ticketmaster with Groupon. Lots of news around this kind of stuff. But what I thought we would actually start with is, we should be calling this the Tales of Asif Traveling, because you have been back and forth. I think this is 4 consecutive weeks for a day trip to California.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's the air miles are definitely racking up, but the body, I don't know how much longer I can take it. But anyhow, yeah. So I was in LA actually this time for the Digital Fan Marketing Summit. So this is a 1-day conference on sports marketing. And so I was asked to do a presentation on how sports and location-based marketing are kind of working together. So obviously we talked about things like, Goala and New Jersey Nets, and Scavenger and the Boston Bruins, and, Value Vine's analysis of Major League Baseball's opening day, and a number of things like that. So there's a lot going on in sports, and I think it's one of the areas where location-based marketing is big and certainly has a lot of benefits. So that was Tuesday, and then booted back here on Wednesday, and then it's basically spent Thursday and Friday up in Collingwood, so close to home, somewhat, a couple hours from home, for a conference put on by the Institute for Communications Agencies here in Canada, called Future Flash, and this was a kind of a day and a half of kind of exploring the future of marketing, focused on agencies and brands, and so a bit of a little bit different conference for me, because it was about kind of not talking about who's doing what right now, which is what we do on this show, but talking a little bit about kind of 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, where I think location is going to be. So it was a little bit different and fun. And so that was this week. And then I'm actually home for a whole week, and we've got a big event coming up this week in Toronto on the 18th. It's our next local chapter event, and that one will be really interesting. We're calling it Network Battle. So we're looking at the location technologies, the comparison between Wi-Fi and in-store solutions, indoor GPS versus cell tower triangulation versus GPS-based solutions. So it should be fun.
And then the week after that, you're heading out to Europe. You're going to be in Amsterdam for the official launch of the Amsterdam chapter of the LBMA. That's
right. So it's actually 2 events going on there. So there's on the 24th and 25th is the Location Business Summit, which is the Where Business 2-day location powwow, and that should be a ton of fun. And then as that wraps up on the 25th, in the evening of the 25th is the LBMA launch. Both events are in Amsterdam.
That's amazing.
At the same hotel. So yeah.
So you're going to spend 2 days there, right? Is that?
I'm actually going to spend 3.5 days there. So there you go. Yeah.
They've got you for so long. That's how much time you spent in 4 separate trips to LA or to California. Mm-hmm. That's the combined amount of time that you spend inside of LA. Not the travel time, but just the amount. You've spent more time on planes than you have in locations.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. The LBMA is a startup, right? And you're living the startup lifestyle, just like everybody else does.
You got it.
All right. Let's dive into some news here.
Lots to cover this week.
Yeah, it's been, I think, maybe 4 episodes since we last talked about Seth Prebatch and his company Scavenger. So I'm glad that the lead story today is about Scavenger and their relationship with American Express, because I've just missed Seth, and this is not so much about Scavenger as it is about Level Up. Let's talk about this. This is big.
It's huge, and so this kind of, just to set the context for this, this is now the second major experiment, by American Express in tying into location-based services. The first was, we talked about it with Foursquare during South by Southwest. Yep. And so what's different about this, and I think what's really interesting about this deal, is where that first deal with Foursquare was about getting $5 cash back on whatever purchases you made when you checked in at a place that carried American Express or that used American Express. That was cool. That was interesting. This new partnership is really about solving the redemption problem that we have. So a lot of these solutions, whether it's Groupon or what have you, you can get the deal, you can print out the little email, and you can show up at the retailer and show them your little printout of the email, or you can show them your mobile phone with the barcode or whatever it is. But more often than not, there's problems at point of sale in terms of actually redeeming that deal. And so what they've done here is, so this is, again, Scavenger has a sort of sub company called Level Up. And Level Up is kind of Groupon on steroids, is how I describe it. It's basically the ability to earn deals based on how frequently you go to a particular merchant, and so you get different deals based on who you are and what you do. But the real story here is that it is solving the redemption piece. And so what happens is you walk into a retailer, and prior to doing that, as the deal has been pushed to you, you associate that deal online to your American Express card, your actual physical American Express card. And then when you walk into the retailer, you simply pay for that item with your American Express card, and the whatever the discount is automatically taken off, in conjunction with that swipe of the card. So it's a simple, it's clean, it solves the redemption issues, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, as they say, I think the article that I was looking at was in Fast Company, and as they said, is that it just eliminates that the embarrassment of the crumpled paper syndrome, right? Where you're walking up with your redeeming code, or even some people forget about it, and this means that you don't even have to remember; you just have to show up. And
and the concept of tying it to a physical card like that isn't new, right? We've talked about several folks who've done that. But the ones who've done it so far have been tying them to store loyalty cards. Yeah. So for you would tie them to your Air Miles card, or you would tie it to your Shoppers Drug Mart card up here, your Optimum program, or whatever other loyalty that particular retailer has their own loyalty program. You would tie it to that swipe. And so they've taken that same concept though, and this time applied it to payments directly through the credit card company, through Amex in this case. And so I think it's really cool. What I want to point out, though, for those who are listening here, this is simply an experiment at this point, and there are big time limitations on this. So it's only at Levi's at the moment. So only at Levi's. You're looking for that pair of jeans. It's only in San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Boston, and it's only one store in each of those cities. So you gotta make sure you go and check out where this is. This isn't widely available yet, but point is that this is pretty cool that you can pay for this thing, and have that deal or that discount automatically taken off, on swipe a card.
And I think two things that are significant here is that Scavenger is decidedly going after a different type of market than everybody else is. They're going after this market, in a different way. And American Express is getting a little bit more aggressive in this location aware to protect what they've got, or to protect their customers. American Express is the third largest credit card company, or processing credit card company, or brand in the credit card world, behind Visa and MasterCard, I believe. And it's kind of like the Snapple, like we're number three, and they can afford to do this, or they need to do this. They can't afford not to.
And remember, we talked last week about Visa, partnering with Square. Yeah. Right? So again, like, the credit card companies are definitely stepping up and getting active. Well, in different ways.
There was some,
but they're definitely experimenting, and I suspect this, while it's just Levi's and it's just these 3 stores in those 3 cities, I suspect this is going to be successful, and you're going to see this thing roll out over the summer into lots of other places.
Yep. Oh, what's interesting is that the timing of this announcement is great, but Visa's just announced this phenomenal, and I'm sure we're going to cover it next week or in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Phenomenal e-wallet concept that they're rolling out in the fall of 2011. It's not a concept, and I think this is the big play that everybody expected the credit card companies to make. We just didn't anticipate that it would happen this quickly, and the impact is going to be great. If we'll spend some time on that next week.
We'll cover it next week. Sure.
Yeah. So Scavenger and American Express, or Level Up and American Express, which is a Scavenger company, and good on them. I think we'll see some great things that have come from this once it starts to roll out. And Level Up is only available in Philadelphia and Boston anyways right now. So I know they're rolling out a few more locations over the summer. It's exciting to see. I love that. I love what Seth's doing. Okay, so talk about big company with big data against another big company with big data. NTT DoCoMo with 58 million subscribers, teaming up with Twitter with I think 18 million Japanese Twitter users, active Twitter users, and 160 million or 200 million users worldwide. This seems to be this is an interesting play for DoCoMo. Maybe not so much for Twitter, I don't think, but for DoCoMo, this is big.
It's big, but and I also think that the Japanese consumer loves Twitter. I mean, that's almost what is it, 18 million, as you said, users of Twitter in Japan. That's not an
half of my followers. Half of my followers, I can't understand what.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not an insignificant number at all. So they've announced a couple of things. They announced a new set of mobile services, to target that 58 million subscribers that they have. And effectively, the first piece is something that they call a touch and follow app that is integrated to NFC-enabled mobile devices. And so what it does is it allows 2 users to start following each other simply by placing their handsets together, simply by touching their handsets together. Basically you can follow each other. So it's kind of like a bump, but with NFC. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Not revolutionary, but my guess is that the penetration of NFC-enabled devices far higher in Japan than they are in North America.
Oh, no question, right? No question. But I, and I think about the practicality of that. With the events I was just at this week, right? I mean, of course, you want to follow a lot of the people that are at that conference. It's all business people that you want to stay in touch with. And I think that simple tap and hey, now you're following me on Twitter and I'm following you on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's layman. I think Bump does a much better job of creating connected relationships. Especially in those events. Because it allows you to not just share me, but share contact information on my links and everything like that. But I think that's just next, right?
Yeah, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm still waiting for LinkedIn to step up and deliver some value at events, location based, contextual.
Maybe when they go public.
Yeah. Well, that could be it. So,
but they have in person. They have that little button that's in person on the LinkedIn app.
Right.
It's kind of, I don't know what I'm supposed to do there, but. There's nothing better than validating somebody by bumping each other, and I think that bump LinkedIn. I think that's a match made in heaven. So, yeah. But we're not here to solve their issues. So NTT, that was only one piece of this announcement, which is interesting.
So, the other big piece is they basically so the way it was described from the press release I read was they're licensing masses of tweets is how it was described in what I read in Japanese. For a new type of location-based service that basically sends alerts to people about local events, places, other information, keywords. So this is like local search using Twitter content.
Pretty amazing.
Right? Now that to me is powerful. Now this is something that's not yet available, but this is a deal that they've struck, they've licensed, and they're just in the process of figuring out what the product's going to look like and when they're going to roll it out. But they're talking about the fall.
Well, now that's very interesting. I don't know that I mean, companies are doing this today, but you know, so this is, I guess, when you get big company NTT DoCoMo and big company Twitter, you got to get them together, and this is worthy of a press release. But I like the idea. I may have written an article a while ago about the you know, why it's so significant, the number and the percentage of Twitter users and Twitter posts that are done from mobile devices. This is why it's so significant. This right here. It's just it's a pulse. Leo Laporte used to calls Twitter the nervous system of the internet, and it's about to become basically the nervous system of the planet when you know, it tips over that the majority of using it from a mobile device. That's when it gets pretty amazing, when you can pull this information. So one of the things that I read was that Twitter is taking that information. They own it. It's a product. Everybody's Twitter posts are owned by Twitter. And they're taking that as a product. They're anonymizing it and then reselling that back to NTT DoCoMo to leverage, right?
Yeah, and I think you'll see NTT take that data and provide that to their partners as well, potentially relicensing it.
Well, I think that, yeah, so what they've said here is that this is from the Nikkei, which is Japan's biggest business daily, saying that DoCoMo entered a licensing agreement with Twitter to harvest masses of tweets in Japanese for a new type of location-based service for smartphones. So, you know, it's going to be the nervous system of at least the Japanese social or location-based services. So, pretty cool.
Very cool.
Well, you know, and good. Big international flavored. Twitter is finally trying to finding ways to make some money. Let's talk about this. You know, we've talked about geofencing before. We've talked about some of the companies that are around these guys, and Maponics talking about shopping boundaries, which really sounds familiar, right?
It does sound familiar. You know, but you know, this is a company that I didn't know a lot about. I have to be honest. Yeah. You know, I went and dug into it when I saw the story, and it's actually a company that's been around for a while, and has a number of products that are kind of named boundary something. So they have neighborhood boundaries, and now they've got shopping boundaries. But what is it? It's basically geofences, geographic boundaries. In this particular case, set up around 3,000 shopping malls, shopping centers, outlets, covering 100 metropolitan areas. This is all in the U.S., includes parking structures and other things related to those properties. Yeah. And effectively, it's geofencing, it's proximity-based, you know, targeting of ads within, you know, an area, not limited to just one retailer in that mall or just one part of the mall, but, you know, the area around the mall. So like, you know, creating a catchment area almost, you know, just associated with that shopping area. So,
but you know, this is getting, how is this going to work when there's, you know, you're going to have now multiple choices. You've got Fast Mall, which is, you know, which is, you know, in hundreds of malls, maybe even thousands of malls across North America, that is kind of doing the same thing, but they're not. You know, it's a little bit less technical. But these guys putting this around this, and you've got companies who are doing this in store. You've got companies doing now. It's starting to get competitive for. It's like a land grab, or a layer grab. I think is what it ends up being.
It is, but I think what's different about Maponics is they're not trying to, at least from the way I understand their offering, is it's not being provided as a end user, like an end solution. They're basically building this as a data set. And then what part of this announcement was is they've licensed this data to location labs. And so it's actually location labs which are there providing tools to the development community that basically are going to provide this data set as part of what they're doing. So think like simple geo type data, you know, but, you know, geofencing effectively, similar types of data, and then licensing that to the development community through location labs and potentially others. So I don't think they're competing necessarily with a Fast Mall. They're competing with whoever Fast Mall's competitor that is going to be, that wants to leverage, you know, data through, you know, a set of development tools or APIs.
So they're basically creating a bunch of other Fast Malls.
Yes, empowering the
empowering
ability for more to have it.
I love it. You know, and this is that's a great way of putting this. Is that and it's a smart play. I wouldn't want to get into the you know, got to get another mall, got to get another parking lot business. I'd rather license that so that it kind of flourishes on its own, right?
Right.
Okay, so Maponics, shopping boundaries, and lots of competition heating up in that because, as you know, where there are lots of stores, there's lots of opportunity for location-based services. And malls, no different. Malls, no different. So what happens when you step in to a location? This has always been a challenge, right?
Yeah, what happens when you stepped in is what we heard this week from Navteq, who's been you know, super active. Yes. We've talked about these guys a lot lately. And so this week they come out again with something called destination maps.
Love it.
And they announced a relationship with Caesars Entertainment, you know, home of hotels and casinos in Las Vegas galore. And so what's really interesting about this is effectively Caesars has built a new guest app for when you're in one of their properties, in one of their hotel casino properties. And empowered with Navteq's data. And so what they've done is they've basically gone in and internally, this is indoor mapping now, so not so different from shopping malls, but indoor mapping of properties. But not just, you know, where the retailers are, but everything. We're, you know, booking your dining reservations through this app, checking on your room, concierge services, event information, bookings, events, whatever's going on in the property. It's all handled through this app, and the whole place has been mapped, including the gaming floors, the restaurants, the nightlife. It's all there, and that's so. Now I'm actually a bit surprised that Navteq's gone all the way down that layer.
No,
but I think it's cool. I think it's neat that they've gone there. So.
It's interesting because ultimately you can use this to reach concierge. You can do this, you know, to find out where a restaurant is from where I'm standing. All that, but it's pretty static, right? So inside of a Caesars, things don't change very often.
Right.
What I'm looking forward to is a year from now when they're going to put that real knowledge layer on top of this, which is, you know, how busy is the restaurant?
Right.
How many people are at the craps table? You know, how many people have bet on this horse or whatever it is?
Well, you know what, and what struck me when I saw this story, because I picked this up on Thursday after I'd gotten back from LA, and while I was in LA, one of the guys who was attending the conference from one of the local agencies. One of his clients is one of the big cruise lines, and he said to me, "Well, how can we use this?" And I said, you know, exactly this kind of thing. I said, you could be mapping out the whole, you know, inside of the ship and following where people are going and running specials on things and getting people to do that rock climbing or, you know, whatever it is, you know, on the ship. And that's exactly what this thing is. So, you know, it's like basically I'm going to be sending him this story this week and saying, you got to be doing this.
You're going to be diving into it quickly.
Yeah.
And for you entrepreneurs who are out there listening to this, which I know there are plenty, hey, here's an opportunity for you to build something. This is basically handed to you on a platter that says, hey, cruise ships don't have a solution. Hi. So, well, I mean, Navteq will probably get involved. But, you know, it starts to get interesting when this is installed, and then what can you do next, which is that next piece, which is so important. And I think... so what's Navteq doing? So I read also that they tied this to the Navteq ad system as well. So they're pushing ads out. So if it's geofenced within Caesars Palace, for example, you're pushing coupons, you're pushing you're trying to draw people out of their rooms and into the casinos or into the shows. And I think that's really where it starts to get very, very powerful. You know, instead of checking in, it's when people are leaving their place, right? You got to convince them to go somewhere. And so... really interesting what's happening here, and really interesting that our first 20 shows had no Navteq, and our last 5 have touched on them pretty much every week.
Yeah, they've been crazy. Just super active now.
So that's it. So from actually geofencing the outside of a mall to finding out what goes on inside of the mall, Navteq, and creating destination maps and working with Caesars Entertainment. Pretty cool. Now, our last one, which is, you know, probably a match made out of, I don't even know this match, but when I think about Live Nation, I think about Ticketmaster. Huge Bruce Springsteen fan right here. I don't know if I've said that. Probably not enough. but huge Bruce Springsteen fan, and Springsteen was one of those guys that sued Ticketmaster for basically selling tickets on the black market on their Live Nation website before they even went on sale, or for inflated prices. And obviously Springsteen and a bunch of artists got together and sued them and won. So now Live Nation, which owns Ticketmaster, is partnering with Groupon for something called Groupon Live, where they're offering discounts to some of these big things. So this is in direct contrast to what they were doing beforehand when it came to inflating the prices. But let's talk about this. This is a neat idea, I think, and probably great for Groupon.
Yeah, I think this is huge for Groupon. I think this is to some extent. I think this is more for Groupon than for Live Nation. But I also see. I think one of the key points here is the benefit for Live Nation is this, in my view, anyways. I think Live Nation has struggled to get active in the social media world. And they've had their lunch handed to them by guys like Eventbrite.
Yes.
From that perspective. And so I think getting into bed with Groupon is one way to kind of get back into the game a little bit, so to speak, in terms of, playing in the social world, in the location, social, motional, whatever you want to call it, world.
Motional. I forgot about motional.
I like it for that reason. When I read the release, I read a couple different versions of it, articles around it. It wasn't really clear what the discounts were going to be. What was clear is it wasn't going to be standard Groupon discounting. It's not like 50% off the concert.
Yeah,
I didn't get that impression. And the impression I got too is that the artists themselves is the way I kept reading it would have a lot of control over going in and setting what the deal parameters were. So I also like that.
I do, and it's probably smart of them. But we all know that the last 2 years for concerts not been the best 2 years for concerts. A lot of big tours have been canceled because of high ticket prices, something called a recession. People aren't going out to live concerts unless they're known entities or they have a huge following to begin with. Lady Gaga still sells out, don't worry, those kind of concerts. And I don't anticipate that we're going to see discounts on the concerts that are the hot concerts. No. It's the ones that aren't so hot that you're going to start to see some discounts in driving, because quite literally, I mean, people are paying $200 to go see Lady Gaga now, and they're not going to discount those.
Yeah, and it is win-win though. I mean, I think Groupon has a big user base. They have a big subscriber base, and I think, for if you're a small to medium-sized artist in terms of draw today, this is big for you, because it totally expands your reach and helps you draw a bigger audience in. And if you can set your own price, even better. And I think that it will work the same way Groupon works today. It's a daily deal type of thing. Still, delivered to you in your email inbox.
But I like it. You can go to GrouponLive.com and go and look at the deals that are going on, right? So this is really
and to your first point about how this happened, I did figure that out. I did the research. So there's a guy named Guy. Let me make sure I say it right here. Guy Osiri.
Yes,
is his name. He's Madonna's manager. Okay, and he's also on the board of Groupon.
Gotcha.
So that's how this happened. So.
Well, I think that this is actually very good, and it for Live Nation, they get to leverage Groupon's knowledge and sales force and brand, and I think that that's so funny that you'd be saying that about Ticketmaster leveraging Groupon's brand. But if you're a small or medium-sized artist, I would say, and maybe a Madonna or somebody, that this is a great way to leverage somebody else's marketing budget to be able to go out and get a deal. And
right.
Ticketmaster.
And this is North America only, by the way, at the moment.
North America only?
Yeah.
Yeah. Groupon plus Live Nation equals GrouponLive.com. It's a match made in heaven. It's a good thing that they could find the domain name, GrouponLive.com. Hey. So that's it for the big news that was this week. Just to recap, Scavenger and Amex, NTT DoCoMo getting in bed with Twitter, Maponics and shopping boundaries, Navteq with Caesars, Caesars Entertainment with destination maps, Groupon, and Live Nation equals Groupon Live. Let's talk about some of the big deals that happened this week, Steve, because big one.
Yeah, the one that you couldn't have missed. I don't know where you were if you did, but obviously Microsoft buying Skype for a crazy amount of money. It's just I don't know. I'm having a hard time.
Speechless. Well, I have a hard time.
I can't even say it. It's so much.
It's an insane amount of money. It's like $1 trillion. But I think that this is. I think that the deal's been panned and celebrated in both in the same sentence from a lot of people. I don't really have an opinion about this because it's too much money, and but on the flip side is that look what we're recording this on. I mean, I use Skype 5 times a day, and I think it's an invaluable service. And quite frankly, their latest release is terrible. And maybe the backing of Microsoft, who understands how to build software and communications tools and knows how to integrate it a little bit better. Maybe there is. Maybe it's a good place to land. Certainly, it's better than Facebook, I would think.
Oh, no question. I mean, the questions now are, and I don't think any pure decisions or any direction has been formally announced. But the questions are: will they now that Microsoft owns Skype, will they continue to support the Mac versions and the other versions, the non-Microsoft versions? Where does this go now in terms of their relationship with Nokia? Mm-hmm. Does all of a sudden, Nokia, every Nokia device come with Skype, and where is that going to go? Who knows, right? Who knows? But we'll see. I mean, Microsoft had to do something to kind of get ahead of Google somewhere. Yeah. They've been catching up a little bit on search, and that's good, I think. They've certainly been spending a lot of money to catch up on search, and now they own the voice video communication piece as well, because I think there's no way Google can compete with that.
No, and Google has Google Voice, and I've used it sometimes. It's integrated into Gmail, and they're offering free but
it's
voice
not
calls.
Skype.
It's not Skype, but it's good and it's bad. But I mean, Skype is 25 or 30 million concurrent uses every day, and I think that this is one of those things that it's big. And tying that to a productivity tool like Office, what they're talking about, or because of Microsoft's investment into Facebook, could this be licensed into Facebook? And is that part of the deal? Licensed into Facebook, and then part of Facebook Chat now.
Who knows, right? And I think one of the key things about Skype, when you talk about those 25 to 30 million, it's, from my perspective, every one of those people it's a location, right? Yeah. It's and effectively you have a lat long geo code for every single conversation that's going on. Yeah. Right? It's no different. From that perspective, Skype is no different than a carrier, tracking every mobile phone out there.
Nope. No.
And so you want to get into all these discussions, about location tracking. Well, I could argue Skype is doing more of that than anybody. But anyways, let's not go there. Let's just say, hey, Microsoft, $8.5 billion for Skype.
Yeah, and I think that if you take the price out, I think it's a good move, and maybe the price, even with the price, it's a good move. This was an all-cash deal as well, I think so. And this is the second time the same guys have sold it. So I think that this is incredible. Certainly it's great. So from a big deal like that, it's hard to go down.
By the way, one last plug on that. One of the shareholders, one of the big shareholders in Skype, in the last round before this acquisition, is the good old Canadian pension plan.
Yes.
So for you and I up here in Canada, Rob,
golden.
We like this.
We each get $1, $1 a year as a retirement. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway. So from $8.5 billion to $5.75 million, and good friend Rick Orr's company tabbed out, raising a little bit of cash.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is new money for them. You know, needed money. I think these guys are, you know, have a solid product. We talked about them last year in South by Southwest in their integration with Jywire. You know, around, you know, delivering local ads into the bars that people were visiting during South by,
Yep.
and being able to check out and kind of move from bar to bar as they were doing the hopping around. You know, I just love this tool. I think it's an amazing little product, and I think, you know, $5.75 million, you know, now in the kitty, led by a company called New Enterprise Associates. These guys are based in Austin as well, so it's, you know, hence the South by relationship. Yep. But you know, hopefully this means that they can, you know, continue to grow, expand the team, add new features, you know, maybe do an acquisition. You never know.
Well, I like these guys, and I like Rick. You know, I interviewed him back in the fall of last year of 2010 for Untether, and he, you know, he just comes at this problem honestly. You know, I hated waiting for a server who was non-responsive. I just wanted to be able to pay and get out, and from there he built a product, and from there it was a product that resonates. And their approach to go after the point of sale systems and integrating into the POS instead of going into individual restaurants, everything about it, the approach is great, and obviously validated with almost $6 million in financing. So I can't wait to see what comes next from these guys. So Tabbed Out, raising $5.75 million, and Rick, congratulations, man. Well deserved. Well deserved. Good entrepreneur there. So from that, let's talk about our product, our service or tool. Actually, it's a tool of the week. It's a tool
of the week.
Lawrence's company, Lawrence Coburn.
Lawrence Coburn, Double Dutch is the company. You know, it's funny. It's taken us 25 episodes to get to these guys because, you know, they've been around for a while. They were one of the kind of, you know, pioneers. You see them at, you know, most of the kind of location specific conferences. You know, and for no other reason, you know, other, you know, we'll get in quickly into the tool set, but, you know, I just love all these companies that kind of go back to these childhood games, you know, whether it's Foursquare or Dodgeball, or last week we talked about Red Rover, and here we're talking about Double Dutch.
And where's Kick the Can? That's what we need.
Kick the Can? Yeah. So I don't know. But anyways, it's yeah. So Double Dutch, basically, it's a tool set. They're all about empowering people to build location-aware mobile apps, whether that's around you know, employees, tracking employees, customers. Whether that's what do they call the thing? The MRM platform can facilitate the flow of data to and from the field. So field fleet management, tracking. So basically, a tool set that allows you to add location to be able to track assets.
It's pretty incredible. Like
people or you know, or vehicles or whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, I think that this is. And Lawrence has been doing this for quite some time, and this allows you basically to build it out yourself and do it at a cost. You know, you don't have to leverage the public networks.
Right.
And so go to doubledutch.me and check it out. It's an incredible service that they've got going on there, and it's one of these things that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg in order to be able to get up and running.
Right. Sort of like in some respects, you know, sort of like you know, from a cost perspective, you know, not that different than, you know, that wonderful public, you know, set out there that we talked about from Ushahidi a while ago.
Yeah.
Right. Very similar in terms of the capability that's available to you. So another great tool in Double Dutch.
Yeah, big fan of Lawrence, big fan of Double Dutch, big fan of Rick for Tabbed Out, and so two great entrepreneurs, two great companies. Go and support them. Doubledutch.me. Doubledutch.me. Onto the resource, Asif. We're that close to ending episode 25.
We're that close. And so the resource this week is actually available up on the LBMA website. So if you go to research, the research section of thelbma.com /research, you'll find an infographic there. And this is really cool new data released just last week at the Social Loco conference in San Francisco, which I wasn't at, by the way.
Come on.
I had a conflict. But they basically, it was titled Check-in Data, the Reality Behind the Hype.
Yeah.
Talks about privacy concerns, talks about early adopters in the market versus, you know, when the mass consumers come in. Talks a little bit about sentiment. What are people saying about locations when they're online, you know, through vehicles like Twitter. So just a really simple but fairly impactful and powerful infographic. Again, available at thelbma.com/research. It's the latest item in there, so take a look at that.
Was there anything in particular that struck you, like you were shocked by the response of something like this, or is most of this data in line with what you anticipated?
For the most part, it's in line. I think what surprised me a little bit was to see when you look at the early adopter numbers and even the mass consumer numbers, in the question of what app are people using, to see that Facebook Places was, you know, way ahead of everybody.
It's insane.
You know, it was like 90% of the people said that they use Facebook Places of the early adopter group.
Yeah.
You know, but this also included, you know, Twitter and Groupon, things like that as social location apps as well. Foursquare was in the number 4 position at 22%. So,
and it's funny because even so you talk about that, and nowhere in the early adopters, which they call early adopters, people are using it. Mass consumers, which are the non-users who would consider using,
right?
And then the online conversation about discussions regarding a tool. That's the only place that Gowalla shows up.
Right.
Which is which kind of significant or signifies, you know, everything that we've talked about.
And the big thing that really surprised me when you compare the early adopter numbers to the mass consumer numbers. So that, again, this is the people who are currently using it versus the people who say they would consider using it.
Yeah.
When you looked at further down the chart at the types of places that they were using it from, or the types of places they would consider using it from.
Yep.
You know, the obvious ones jumped out at the early adopters, where people are using it today: restaurants, cafes, bars, etc. Were way up the top. But when you look at the people who say they would consider using it, you know, down the road, you know, the biggest number was from home.
I know.
Right?
We're obviously not getting this message across.
You know why it blew me away so much? You know, it doesn't blow me away, you know, so much because I use location as you do every day, and it's all we talk about on this show. And so we're familiar with the concepts of checking into, you know, places and you know, from home, but also checking into content from home and things like that. But you know, with all the discussion that's going on in the last couple of weeks, and this survey was only done in the last few weeks, about, you know, privacy issues and Apple's nightmares and all of that, to see that number jump out, you know, at the top, really blew me away. You know, but anyhow.
Well, this is definitely worthwhile. I mean, we could do an entire episode around analyzing these numbers.
But take a look at the data again. thelbma.com/research. It's there.
Yeah. Great
infographic. Good work by the Social Local Conference, Mark Evans and that crew over there. Excellent job.
So yeah, go and check that out, because, and then let us know what you think wherever you find this podcast. Let us know how you interpret those numbers, because they speak volumes around this. And has Facebook decidedly won this battle in the check-in market? Is that what we're seeing here? Has the tide turned? So go to the lbma.com/research. Take a look at that. It's a great PDF. It's available for free. Awesome. Episode number 25. I got nothing left.
That's it. Another good week in location.
And you know,
and we'll definitely cover that Visa e-wallet stuff next week.
I think that it's going to be an important announcement, and now the proof is in whether or not they can actually get this going and where they start with. So we will definitely touch on that when we reconvene next week, next Sunday night, for episode number 26. For those of you who are watching or listening to this consistently, faithfully, we really appreciate the fact that you do this. Let us know who you are. You can reach me at untether@gmail.com, or you can just go to the LBMA and hit them up on their email, on their contact form on their website. You can follow at the LBMA on Twitter. I've set up, you can just follow me at Rob Woodbridge. Whatever it is that you want to do, just reach out and let us know what you think about how we're doing here as we embark on our second 25 episodes. Episode number 26 next week.
And just last thing for me, again, if you're in Toronto this coming week, Wednesday the 18th, is the next LBMA Toronto chapter event. So we'd love to have you out at that event. 6:30. You can find it on our website. You can find it on Twitter, or you can email me or Rob, and we'll let you know.
Yes.
But all the details are there.
And don't forget, you can find the LBMA on Facebook as well. So there's a great page there as well, a burgeoning little community. So follow us everywhere. Find us everywhere. And we will be here for next week for episode number 26. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Asif, always a pleasure, man. Can't wait till next weekend.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
See you later.
See ya.